Sunday. It is August the 6th. It is 7:54 p.m. And the following are notes that I wrote on a recent experience that I had. Floating in what I perceived to be the void. Telling Mom that I love and miss her. Come to a stop and was suddenly in the biggest kitchen I've ever seen. The paint was light blue and there were pans high up on the walls, and I could see people cooking. Chefs? Uncertain. I went through and touched black bowls hanging on something, probably metal somewhere. Then I could see others cooking food, and I could smell it. I could smell the food. It was like pasta. It smelled divine. At one point, I even saw someone riding a camel through this place, and it freaked me out. So I came back. That was a very brief experience and a very strange experience that I had earlier in the week. It was really short, so I decided to go ahead and save it for a Sunday episode. And of course, people are always curious about how I get to this place, how I'm able to do this, what my, I guess, quote, method is, unquote. And today I wanted to talk about my method of both astral projection and shifting because, again, I know that there are a lot of people that are curious about it. Now, one of the reasons why I don't talk about this a lot, and I've talked about it in the past, but one of the reasons is because I want to make sure, I want to make it very, very clear that this is stuff that works for me, but that does not mean that it is necessarily going to work for you. And I know how passionate folks are in the shifting community. They're also passionate in the astral projection community as well, but in the shifting community, there is a very deep passion. And I have in the past seen on the subreddit things that I don't necessarily agree with people saying things like, you got this, and this is easy, and all this other stuff. And I simply don't agree with that. It isn't an easy thing, what I do. It is an incredible thing, something that I don't understand. And I'm just being very real with you. I know a lot of people want to give maybe this aura that they understand everything that's going on with all this stuff, but I'm very clear about it. Regardless of the fact that I've been doing this for 40 plus years, I understand very little to almost nothing. And I have said before in the past that I am very humbled by all this stuff, and I feel grateful that I have the access that I have every single day. I am grateful for that. But, having a deep understanding of it, I don't have a deep understanding of it. I can only tell you, and this is why I say, I can only tell you what works for me. But if I can be an inspiration, if I can assist you in some way, then that's wonderful. I love seeing comments where people say that I astral projected for the first time, or that, perhaps you had your first shift and something I said inspired you. It's great. That's wonderful. That is an amazing, amazing thing. So I'm going to go through and just talk about my method. And one of the things that I want to start with, and this is the most important thing to me, the most important goal to me is reaching that middle space beyond everything else. I don't care about techniques or visualizations or any of that stuff. My most important goal when I have an experience is reaching that in between place, that sweet spot. Some folks call it sleep paralysis. I don't like that word because it makes it sound scary, and it's not really. When you get to that place, or when I get to that place, a switch happens. I go from being able to move physically with my body to being able to move with my consciousness. That is where the movement is transferred to. And that's how I see it, guys. That is how I see it. But that's the difficult part, the hard part. How do you get to that middle space? How do you get to that place where, most of the people in this world, they just fall asleep, right? I always see it this way, and this is my visualization of what happens to us when we go into our dream world. There is a bridge, and we start when we shut our eyes. So if you were to shut your eyes right now in this moment, if you could do that, just shut your eyes. And that's really the beginning, right? You begin that journey at that moment when you shut your eyes. You haven't even really probably started crossing that bridge yet, but you're seeing colors, maybe there's darkness there. In the mornings, when I get up and I'm tired, I can shut my eyes and see all kinds of different images and other things. So that's me. That's my experience. But with you, things may get or may be different. Okay? So that's the beginning. And then as you begin to drift into sleep, which you would probably begin to do eventually as you're lying there or sitting there with your eyes closed, you will begin to drift. That's when you begin to cross that bridge. And the difficult part is staying conscious long enough to reach the middle, because that's where I believe all this stuff happens. If you can do it, if you can stay aware and stay conscious until you get to that middle space, then almost anything is possible. And one of the things I do is I visualize things, right? So I've talked about this before, and this is something I use for shifting. Suppose you could probably use it for astral projection as well. Again, once you reach that place, then I think you can go either way. But one of the things I've done, or one of the things that I use, is this visualization of me pushing through space. Like I imagine my hands, and I'm not talking about outer space. I'm talking about the space around me. I imagine my hands pushing through space as if our space and our reality is a barrier, and that I'm pushing through that barrier. So that's what I'm imagining. And I just sit and I focus on this. But something else that I also do is I lay down and I just quiet my thoughts as much as I can. And I just lay there. And I'm trusting the fact I've already put it out there in the universe, right? Especially when I'm trying to do this consciously. Sometimes it just happens. But when I am making a conscious effort to do it, right? When I do that, I've already put it out there into the universe. Hey, I'd like to have an experience. That would be nice. Again, with that, there is no desperation. I'm not sitting here going, oh gosh, I have to have this experience, right? I don't believe desperation is a good thing, and I don't believe it's helpful. Okay, but I know that there are people out there that are desperate. And one of the things I've talked about before on this channel is I've talked about whether I believe that either astral projection or especially shifting is an escape. And for me, it has never been an escape. It's added to my life, and it's made me aware that in our conscious state in this 3D world, we're experiencing very little of what there is actually out there. Like our existence is so much more expansive than we know or understand. So it's definitely taught me that. But it is not necessarily an escape. And that's not what I believe. With these things, my belief is the desperation and the other things can block you from getting there. So if you're desperate and you're pushing and all these other things and you're mad at yourself and you're upset because you don't feel that you're good enough to be able to do this, these things matter. By the way, I'm mentioning this. These aren't visualizations. These aren't like tips in the sense of saying you do A, B, and C and then you can do this. But what I'm telling you, I believe can be a very helpful thing. Because when you beat yourself up, what you don't understand is that you, the being that you are, and I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to all of you, is so expansive. Guys, it's infinite. You are infinite. So when you're beating up on yourself, that's huge, right? So you want to be patient with yourself and you want to learn to love yourself. These things are important, right? People don't talk about them, but they are important. Now, once you reach that middle space, once you can get to that middle space through relaxation and that trying to stay conscious, and you can come up with your own visualizations to be able to do that, right? You can be creative and come up with your own things, but once you get to that middle space, in my mind, when I get there, I tell you what, I know when I'm there, and I think you will know too. It is a different place to be in. And I always get this sense, this feeling like this wave is coming. If you've ever been in the ocean and you see a wave coming towards you, I think that's what it feels like. Or if you're a surfer, you want to catch a wave, maybe that's maybe a bit closer to the feeling or the sense that I get. Like I'm getting ready to ride a wave and it's coming and I'm getting on there and I'm going to ride that wave to wherever it is that I'm going. And that's it. That's really where you want to get to, and that's where I want to get to, and I am able to arrive to. That's where I was able to arrive to on this most recent experience. I got to the middle place, and that's my belief, is that that is the goal. Anyway, I hope this was helpful, guys. I really do, and let me know if you want more videos like this. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And until next time, take care.